What happens when the world's biggest K-pop phenomenon hits a breaking point? NewJeans redefined the industry, but internal warfare and legal ultimatums have left fans asking the unthinkable. Is this the end? We're diving into the cold, hard facts behind the group's possible disbandment. Are they leaving or being pushed? Minji! The clock started ticking the moment a formal legal notice landed on the desks of ADOR and HYBE, signed by all 5 members, including the group's eldest, Minji. This isn't just a simple disagreement or a public tantrum. It is a calculated legal maneuver known as a certification of contents. In the South Korean legal system, this document serves as a final warning before a contract is officially terminated. Minji and her bandmates have laid out a strict 14-day deadline for the agency to rectify what they describe as serious breaches of their exclusive contracts. If the demands aren't met, they have explicitly stated their intention to walk away. The core of Minji's involvement stems from a deep-seated loyalty to the group's original vision and their creator, Min Hee-jin. Since the internal conflict at HYBE erupted in April 2024, the atmosphere surrounding NewJeans has shifted from meteoric success to a survival struggle. Minji has been vocal, albeit professionally, about the loss of the team's color and the protective environment they once enjoyed. The legal notice highlights specific grievances, including the controversial HYBE internal industry report, which contained disparaging remarks about the group's visual appeal and market longevity, suggesting a discard and replace strategy. For Minji, who spent years training under a specific philosophy of organic growth, the revelation that their parent company might view them as disposable assets was a breaking point. The document also demands a formal apology for a manager from another HYBE label allegedly telling another group to ignore member Hanni, an incident that Minji and the group view as a symptom of a larger systemic workplace bullying issue. This isn't just about creative differences. It's about the fundamental right to work in an environment that doesn't actively undermine their reputation. By taking this stand, Minji is risking a career at its absolute zenith, facing potential blacklisting or massive financial penalties that usually follow a contract breach. Yet, the facts show she is prioritizing the group's integrity over the safety of a corporate giant. The industry is watching closely because if Minji and NewJeans successfully terminate their contracts based on these grounds, it would set a massive legal precedent for idol autonomy in K-pop. They aren't just asking for better treatment. They are demanding the restoration of the specific management structure that birthed their identity. If HYBE refuses to blink, the group is legally prepared to dissolve their current ties and seek a future elsewhere, even if it means losing the NewJeans name forever. The stakes are higher than a simple comeback. This is a fight for the very soul of their careers. The paper trail is signed, the deadline is set, and the silence from the boardroom is deafening. Hanni! The world stood still on the 15th of October 2024 when Hanni Pham became the first active K-pop idol to testify at a National Assembly audit regarding workplace harassment. This wasn't a scripted variety show appearance. It was a voluntary, high-stakes confrontation with the legislative power of South Korea. Hanni sat before the Environment and Labor Committee, her voice trembling but steady, to detail an environment of ostracism within the walls of HYBE. The catalyst for this move was a specific incident that occurred in a shared styling area. According to Hanni's testimony and the group's legal notice, she encountered members of another HYBE-affiliated group, later identified as ILIT, and their manager. Hanni greeted the younger artists, but she alleges that the manager explicitly instructed the other group members to ignore her right in front of her face. While HYBE and the subsidiary label Belift Lab denied these claims, citing CCTV footage where the two groups are seen bowing to each other, Hanni argued that the crucial moment of the verbal slight happened just outside the frame or after the archived footage ended. For Hanni, this wasn't just a rude remark, it was proof of a systemic attempt to isolate NewJeans after they sided with their former CEO, Min Hee-jin. The emotional weight of her testimony was palpable when she told lawmakers, "I realize this wasn't a one-time thing. I don't want anyone else to go through this." This public airing of internal laundry shattered the polished image of the HYBE family and became a central pillar in their legal fight to leave. The fact that an idol at the peak of her fame would walk into the National Assembly alone, without a manager, to accuse her own parent company of bullying is unprecedented in the industry's history. It highlighted a terrifying reality. Even global stars are vulnerable when the corporate machine turns against them. By documenting this as a breach of trust in their legal notice, Hanni has made it clear that a professional relationship cannot exist where basic respect has vanished. If the label cannot guarantee a safe work environment, Hanni and the group have signaled they are ready to walk away from the billions in revenue they generate. The "ignore her" comment became the spark that turned a corporate dispute into a human rights conversation, leaving the group's future hanging by a legal thread. One thing is certain, after that testimony, there is no going back to the way things were. Heron! While the legal battle raged throughout 2024 and 2025, a sudden and surprising shift occurred within the group's unified front. On the 30th of October 2025, the Seoul Central District Court delivered a crushing blow to the members' hopes for a clean break, ruling that their exclusive contracts with ADOR remained valid and that there were no sufficient grounds for a unilateral termination. Faced with a legal wall and the prospect of massive financial penalties, the group's ride-or-die strategy began to show its first real cracks. Heron, often called the calm cat of the group for her quiet and observant nature, became one of the first members to officially signal a return to the label. Along with the youngest member Hanni, Heron issued a statement through ADOR confirming that after deep discussions with their families, they would respect the court's decision and comply with their original contracts. This wasn't a sign of betrayal, but a cold realization of the legal reality. The court did not find ADOR at fault for the management vacuum following Minji's dismissal. For Heron, the facts show a pivot from rebellion back to the professional structure of the agency to protect her career's longevity. However, this decision created a visible fragmentation within NewJeans that fans never expected to see. While Heron and Hyun were being spotted in Copenhagen in April 2026, filming what appeared to be new content with ADOR staff, other members remained in a state of legal limbo. Specifically, Danielle's path diverged sharply as her contract was eventually terminated amidst a multi-million-dollar lawsuit, while Minji's status remained under discussion for months. This means that for the first time since their debut, Heron is participating in activities that may not include the full lineup of five. The emotional weight here is the loss of the perfect five chemistry that defined their brand. Heron's return is a factual testament to the power of a binding contract over personal loyalty. Even if the heart wants to leave, the law can force a stay. As she prepares for a new musical narrative in 2026, the question is no longer just about the group's survival, but whether a version of NewJeans without its original members can ever feel the same. The cat has returned to the fold, but the home she once knew has been completely redesigned. Danielle. On the 29th of December 2025, the 5 or nothing dream officially shattered when ADOR announced the permanent termination of Danielle Marsh's exclusive contract. Unlike the other members who navigated a path back to the label, Danielle's exit was aggressive and final, marked by a bridge-burning legal war that is still shaking the industry in 2026. The agency didn't just let her go, they accused her of signing conflicting agreements and engaging in unauthorized entertainment activities while still legally bound to the company. This isn't a simple creative split, it is a financial catastrophe. ADOR filed a staggering lawsuit worth 43.1 billion KRW against Danielle, a family member, and former CEO Minji, alleging they were the masterminds behind the group's departure and delayed return. To ensure they get their money, the court has already ordered a provisional seizure of assets, freezing real estate worth 2 billion KRW belonging to Danielle's mother. For Danielle, the sunshine of the group, the facts reveal a heartbreaking reality where personal loyalty to her mentor, whom she famously called Mom, collided head-on with corporate law. While her teammates Hanni, Heron, and Hyun were spotted in Copenhagen in April 2026 filming for a potential comeback, Danielle was conspicuously absent, her career effectively frozen by the ongoing litigation. The emotional weight of this is undeniable for fans who watched her rise to global stardom, only to see her now facing the prospect of being erased from the group's future discography and history. ADOR's stance was cold. They determined it was difficult for her to continue as an artist under their banner, citing a total breakdown of trust that no amount of mediation could fix. This isn't just a member leaving, it's a cautionary tale of how quickly a global phenomenon can splinter when the legal ink dries. As the first hearing for the massive damages suit looms in May 2026, Danielle stands alone on the outside of the brand she helped build. The five are gone, and the legal battle for what's left of her career is just beginning. One member is out, three are back, but the fate of the last pillar remains a total mystery. HYBE! As the youngest member of the group, HYBE's journey through the NewJeans civil war has been defined by forced absences and heartbreaking timing. While the legal battle intensified in late 2024, Hanni was already sidelined by a physical injury, a microfracture in her foot, that kept her from participating in the House Suite and Supernatural promotions. This forced isolation during the group's most turbulent months created a factual disconnect that the agency eventually used to navigate her return. According to ADOR's official filings in early 2026, Hanni was the first to reach an amicable settlement regarding her future activities, citing a desire to fulfill her remaining contractual obligations alongside Hanni. However, the emotional cost has been staggering. Fact: during the height of the Ignore Her controversy, Hanni was largely absent from the front lines, and her eventual return to the practice room in 2026 saw a completely different landscape, one where her older sisters, Danielle and Minji, were no longer part of the daily lineup. While she and Hanni were documented in Copenhagen in April 2026, the absence of the full quintet was a silent confirmation of the group's de facto dissolution. The reality for Hanni is a NewJeans that exists in name only, managed by the very corporate structure the original lineup fought to dismantle. She is now the face of a transition period, a member who returned to the label only to find that the family she debuted with had been legally and professionally severed. The 2025 court rulings effectively locked her into a contract that expires years from now, making her a survivor of the brand, but a casualty of the conflict. As of May 2026, Hanni remains under the ADOR banner, but the NewJeans she is promoting is a fractured version of the original vision. This isn't just a lineup change. It's the final proof that in the high-stakes world of K-pop, the brand often outlives the bond. The story of NewJeans as we knew it has reached its end, leaving only the echoes of what could have been.